I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times. In this new year and new season of the pod, what are we in February now? Natasha, producer Zach, and I have been talking about ways to tighten up the show, tweak it a bit, work on some behind the scenes things. And I've been doing more research, listening to other podcasts in this space, which there are many. And I wanted to present you all with some potential new taglines for our show. Because I think, we got to do a better job of marketing ourselves in ways that really sets us apart from everybody else and reflects who we are. Kind of like a movie poster for shared accounts. So here are some new shared accounts with CU Times tagline ideas. So just imagine I'm saying shared accounts with CU Times. Okay, here we go. First one, shared accounts. 70% less boring than everyone else. Okay. And Zach and Natasha can chime in if you like or don't like these. Okay, number 2, shared accounts with CU Times. We are pop-up videos in human form. 90s reference there. Number 3, shared accounts. Where 2/3 of us watch 90 Day Fiancé twice a week. Do the math.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's not twice a week.
It's really great for my brain. It's great brain food.
Okay, number 4, shared accounts with CU Times. Podcast with no budget. That's us.
That one I think is hysterical.
All right.
Maybe that's a hidden message to the company. I don't know.
There's nothing hidden about that.
Okay, yeah, I guess not. It's very
It is blatant. Okay, last one. Shared accounts with CU Times. Where guests realize by the end of the interview just how fun we are, and then they finally relax, but it's too late and the interview's over, and then they ask to come back because they had such a fun time.
That's a little too long, but I think it's
long.
accurate.
It's pretty accurate.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, Terry Williams joins us on the show. He's SVP Global Fixed Assets and Corporate Security at PenFed Credit Union. Also, he is director of the PenFed Foundation's Veteran Entrepreneur Program. He was interesting. We talked about a lot of stuff, even his, AI stuff, Natasha? It was really nuts.
Yes, we'll get to that.
It was fun, interesting, and kind of blew my mind. Anyway, first up, there's Natasha. Let's take a break with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I feel like this was the first week of the year that's been normal for me because
You know what? That's right.
all these long power outages and it just disrupted everything. And so I believe this was the first full podcast I've been present on because of all these disruptions this year. So yeah, it feels good. It feels nice.
Glad to have you for the whole show.
Yeah.
All right. So what'd you watch this past week?
Yeah, I watched, mainly speaking of, in the intro, you talked about 90 Day Fiancé, some kind of mindless documentaries that were pretty interesting, though. So one of them, this one came on Netflix. Not sure if you heard about it, but it was a 3-part docuseries about Jerry Springer, the Jerry Springer Show.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It was funny. I never watched that. I was just too young. I didn't, those kind of shows were just dumb and kind of gross. And during the day, I never really, but yeah, seeing it now, it was interesting. And they interviewed the people who brought the guests on and kind of behind the scenes. I mean, it was wild though, when you hear the stories where they would drag these people from these small towns and they would just coach them on how to be totally unhinged on the show and scream and all this stuff and basically humiliate them in the end. So anyway, that was interesting.
So he was mayor of Cincinnati.
Really? Okay, I did not know that. It didn't start. I thought it was going to talk about his life more, but it didn't. It just started with the show. So I didn't.
Oh, so that's post him being mayor. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was I don't know what adjectives to use for that guy. Interesting?
I don't know. It sounded like he wasn't the brains behind all of the nonsense on the show. He was just the host. And then there was this other guy who was really orchestrating everything. And he was really the face and the host.
I just hated that show. I hated that show existed.
Yeah. Those are
I didn't watch it.
Now we just have stuff like that all over the internet every day, I guess. And back then it was like that was just the regular TV was where you got all that. So they had to put it somewhere. Alright, another one I watched real quick, it was called Don't Die, and it was about
Okay.
Brian Johnson, do you know that guy? He's like a entrepreneur, tech guy, I believe, and then he went on this quest to live forever, which obviously is
Oh,
not gonna happen,
that
but,
guy.
it's
Yeah.
really strange, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, and the whole thing of just watching it looks like he's just trying to, like, draw attention to himself and promote himself. So all these, like, new products and partnerships with different supplements, and I didn't really pay I just kinda had it playing in the background while I was
Okay.
doing other things, so I
Mhm.
didn't really pay attention. Final one real quick, this was on Max, finished it last night. It's called An Update on Our Family, and it's
Hmm.
about this mom influencer, Micah Stauffer. Does that ring a bell at all, or hear the
Nope.
story? You know?
Nope.
Okay. So anyway, she was this mom influencer. She had 4 kids and then just broadcasting their entire life on social media, which is
Okay.
that's a whole issue. I don't think
Uh-huh.
that's a good idea,
Nope.
but there was a big scandal. They adopted a kid from China, this little boy who
Mhm.
had, like, special needs. He was, like, the star of the YouTube channel, and then all of a sudden,
Okay.
he just, like, disappeared, like, just gone. Everyone's like, "What happened to the
Huh.
kid?" You know? And then it turned out they just, like, sent him back because they couldn't handle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then they got completely canceled, and then they just, like, disappeared from the internet.
Good.
I don't know, I was fascinated by the story. It was
Man.
and they interviewed, like, adoption experts
Yeah.
and kind of all the trauma, like,
That's
of
a that's
yeah, I don't know. It was,
crazy.
fascinating.
I had some very good friends who adopted their child from China.
Yeah,
Gosh,
yeah.
been 20 years now, but, it was what a process, and then the fact that these people have, "Nah, we're gonna send it back." That's terrible people.
My mom knew someone who did that years ago in New York.
Hmm.
They adopted a boy, I think from Russia,
Okay.
and they sent him back, and she was like, "How can you?" I don't know how you can do that. I wouldn't even be able to foster a dog and then have to send it back. That's why I've never
The
fostered an animal, like, I've thought
Right,
about it, but I know, like,
right.
how you can't give it back, like, you're gonna be attached, like, how no, it's mind blowing.
These aren't pants, people.
Yeah, it's
This
not
is
like, "This couch doesn't look good in the living
okay.
room." Let's anyway,
Yuck.
alright,
Alright.
so that was my see,
Huh.
the documentaries are they're insightful, they're not so mind-numbing, I guess.
I
They make you think about
suppose.
things, like, in life, so
I guess it's just my turn off for all that is I don't wanna be reminded how lousy people are.
yeah,
So,
fair enough.
I
Yeah, I
think
guess there's plenty of reminders of that in other places too
yeah.
all day, so
So very quickly,
yeah,
yeah,
what
on
did you
my
watch?
end, yeah, you have been out a while, I guess, for full records here,
I know.
looking at my list, but I wanna put out one kind of a really cute movie. It was on Amazon Prime called My Old Ass
Oh, yes, yes,
with,
yeah, I watched that one.
Aubrey Plaza
Yeah,
in it, and I know you've seen it, Natasha.
I have. Yeah, I
I
watched it
finally got
last
around to seeing it. It was pretty darn cute,
it was good.
and
Mhm.
the woman lead, she's fairly young, Maisie Stella is her name. I thought she was incredible
It's great.
in it.
Yeah, yeah, I'd never seen her before in anything, but yeah,
No?
really, really good. And just an interesting character too, like
Yeah.
a more modern type of Gen Z character.
Yeah, it wasn't so
Nice.
annoying,
Yeah,
but she just did a heck of a job. I really liked it. It was fun.
I liked it too, yeah. It was sad though, just a little
Well,
more
yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything.
no, no, no spoilers. A
It
bit
was
of a
good.
sadness at the end there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
it.
Well, that's fun. Okay, I'm sure you've watched a lot more, but we don't have
I
time
have.
to get into that. I've been blabbing a little too long, so
You're
we'll
all
catch
good,
up
Natasha.
next week with the movie
Okay.
watching. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get on into our interview with Terry.
Mhm.
Well, earlier you kind of started one of the three things that I pointed out that stood out to me, I should say, in his interview was got a really fascinating, I don't know, I guess you could kind of call it a side hustle involving AI, some
Mhm.
projects. So
Yeah,
that comes up at the end of the interview. You'll definitely want to stick around, listen to everything because it's very fascinating, very unique.
yeah.
A couple other things that were interesting. So works for PenFed. He also has a long military background.
Mhm.
But he describes his what I would call a serendipitous meeting with PenFed CEO James Skank that led
Yeah,
to the new
it's a
job.
great origin
Really
story.
interesting, yeah. Sometimes things just, like, fall in your lap, and that sounded like
Uh-huh.
literally something fell in your lap. If only all jobs could come that way, right? People don't have to
Yeah.
search, it would just happen. Yeah, and then we also get into just some issues with veterans, how
Hmm.
they have a harder time starting businesses. He talks about why that is, and he talks about how his organization is helping veterans in that area of being successful as entrepreneurs.
Great.
So, yes, we have all of that coming up next. Joining us in the virtual studio today is Terry Williams, SVP Global Fixed Assets and Corporate Security at PenFed Credit Union, and he's also the director of the PenFed Foundation's Veteran Entrepreneur Program. Hey, Terry, welcome to Shared Accounts.
Natasha, thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you. Thanks for joining. All right, so Terry, we wanted to start this off by just trying to get to know you a little better, a little bit about your background. Much of your career was spent in the U.S. Marine Corps, as a lot of executives at PenFed probably have some kind of connection to the military background. And then you joined PenFed in 2019. So, can you start off by telling us, how did this opportunity with PenFed come about, sort of this transition from military to a credit union? And was there anything specific that drew you to the credit union movement?
A great question. I'll answer the second one first. And
Okay.
that is, there was nothing that really drew me to the credit union movement, but the story I tell you next will tell you exactly why. Because as I got out of the Marine Corps, I started my own business.
Okay.
And I was doing logistics, supply chain management, business resiliency, city management, strategic planning, leadership, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And so a friend of mine said, "Hey, I know somebody you may want to talk to if you're doing business development looking for clients." And I said, "That's great. I am." So
Okay.
he said, "Yeah, his name is James Skank." I didn't know who he was at the time. And he said, his words, not mine, he knows everybody. So I set up the meeting and gave him my quick pitch, background military service.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, he said, "You know what? You don't want to work for yourself. You want to work for me. How about
Oh,
I
wow.
hire you?" And you know what? He said, I'll give you 30 days, 60 days, whatever it takes. Talk to your wife and just let me know if you'd like to work because we have a job for you here.
Ooh.
And at the
Wow.
end of the day, I talked to my wife and the rest is history.
What a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
I
quite the
know.
recruitment story. Yeah. That talk about just timing and yeah, right place, right
Well,
time, right person. Yeah,
God was looking out for me. He put some great people in my path.
sure.
So I'm just happy to be here.
Absolutely.
So, can you explain anything about, and I appreciate the backstory, but was there anything about the union?
Yeah, it was more the people, right? So
Sure.
the people really had a engaging from James on down rapport. And because they were military and I was military, our conversations, we just hit it off from the very beginning.
Mm.
And so as I thought about it, and then they said, "Hey, we've got some stuff for you to do." I thought, I could do that. And because of the people, I finally made the decision with my wife to go ahead and work for PenFed. It's a great place to work. Everything about it, I can't say enough good things about it. The people, the mission,
Hmm.
credit union missions are great. In particular, PenFed has some great things that they do with their communities, our communities. So I just love it.
I'm curious, were you a member of PenFed already? Did you know anything about credit unions at all going into it?
So don't laugh when I tell you this, but I was a longtime member of our rival. I
Ah,
guess it's not even really our rival, Navy Federal Credit
Never
Union.
heard of them.
Yeah, I
Who?
know.
Who are those people?
Since I was in the Marine Corps, that was the first place they sent me when I
Hmm.
joined up,
absolutely.
and I've had
Sure.
them ever since then. But I am a member of PenFed Credit Union.
I'm sure you have to be. Yeah, but hey, no hard feelings. I mean, at least you were in the credit union movement to begin with, so that's
Yes.
something. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So, Terry, let me ask you about your official role as Senior Vice President, Global Fixed Assets and Corporate Security. If you combine that with the other title that you have, you roughly have 18 words in your title. So, a two-part question. How many business cards do you use to just explain your one job there? And two, can you kind of explain your key responsibilities in the Global Fixed Assets and Corporate Security role?
Yeah, I can. In fact, I talked to my boss about that when I picked up the veteran entrepreneur portion.
Hmm.
So it is a mouthful, and I don't use business cards. I use LinkedIn.
Great.
So yeah, so global fixed assets. My responsibilities include acquiring, maintaining, and disposing of our corporate used property. So our headquarters buildings, our branches, and so forth.
Mhm.
That entails basically selling, buying, leasing. It includes maintaining the properties.
Mm-hmm.
It includes all the things you would think of, like the janitorial pieces of it. It includes the systems, ensuring they're up and working, backup systems, et cetera, et cetera. So everything that you'd have to do with managing a property. But
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, I also do the construction piece.
Wow.
If we're going to buy new property or if we're going to lease new property, I've got a team that goes in, they design the layout, and then they get a general contractor and they manage the build out of those properties.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. On top of that, I've got the physical security, which is the corporate security piece.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the guards, the cameras, the badges, and the people who do all that work as well
Wow.
to keep our members and our teammates safe. And then something that the name or the title doesn't tell you is I'm also responsible for our business resiliency at the
Ah.
enterprise level,
Huh.
which basically means I ensure that the business can operate through any kind of incident or any kind of disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And if it can't, at least the impact is minimum to our members.
Wow. That could be a whole separate conversation for sure, just about facilities and the changing role of the branch with credit unions and all financial institutions that has been coming up. So that's a whole other topic. Very, very interesting to us. But I know today we're going to focus on the Veteran Entrepreneur Program, of course. So let's pivot to that. So you are also director of the Veteran Entrepreneur Program at the PenFed Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of that program? How and when did it start? And then what's your role as the director?
Yeah, so started about, I believe, 7 years ago, 2018 timeframe, maybe it was 2017. James Skank, again, the president and CEO of PenFed Credit Union and the CEO of the foundation. This was his vision to help veterans because he has a passion for veterans. He's also a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how that started. And as the director, I've got two people working for me, two great Americans, Rachel Miller and Joaquin Goguiolai. His name is very interesting.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And they do great work. But as the director, I'm responsible for kind of looking out to the future, the vision of the program makeup, a number of cohorts that we get each year, whether we want to expand into one location or the other, our budgeting, our workshop breakdowns, our virtual breakdowns, and the like, to include mentoring, being an SME, and then also getting mentors, SMEs,
Mm-hmm.
and investors to look at our companies.
Can you talk about, Terry, some of the unique challenges that veteran entrepreneurs face that other non-veteran entrepreneurs might not? And how does your program address those challenges?
Yeah, so Michael, that's also a great question because that's one of the reasons why the program started out.
Yeah.
So the unique challenges that veterans have, and obviously because I'm a veteran, I know this because I also started a company at one point,
Yeah.
is really, it comes down to a couple of things. One is access to capital, and the other is networks,
Mm-hmm.
and finally mentors, finding men and women who can teach the military person about running a business.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, there's a couple of root causes to this. One is the lack of understanding from both the investor's standpoint
Mm-hmm.
and from the veteran themselves. And I'll kind of explain that. From the understanding or lack of for those businesses and those businessmen and women, not a lot of them really understand the military. They really don't understand the extensive leadership, teamwork, problem solving skills, their tenacity, mission focus, their ability to juggle multiple complex issues at any one given time,
Mm-hmm.
their desire to succeed. I mean, it all taught, no matter whether you're in 3 years or 40 years in the military, they've got these invaluable skills that a lot of times the civilian world and business people and investors just don't understand unless they've been there and done that themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But the same is true for the military side. The veteran doesn't know always how to explain that. And so what our program does is, and I'll get to the mentor part in a second, what our program does is we provide through our free, no cost to that veteran, no stake in that veteran's business,
Mm-hmm.
3-day in-person followed by a 6-week virtual session, we provide prominent business leaders who help teach topics like business development, marketing, branding, sales, communications, strategic planning, pitching to investors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Scaling, exiting, you name it, anything that they have to do with building a business. We get experts, professionals in to try to help them during the 3 days and the 6 weeks.
That's like college level education there.
No, it is. And it used to be called the master's program. So we may bring that name back. But since you mentioned that, in order to touch more veterans, what we're also doing is we're creating a kind of audit portion of our program, because we've got a lot of folks, a lot of veterans who want to sign up for the program, but we're limited in our numbers to about 24 a year in 3 cohorts. We get sometimes over 100. And so we're going to start an auditing program that allows those veterans that just aren't ready and the competition was too keen for them to make it to the in-person, they'll be able to look at some videos and watch those videos, as well as get a mentor assigned to them to be able to then compete at the end of the year in the pitch competition, depending on where they fall with the other auditors.
Yeah.
So we really want to make a difference in those veteran entrepreneurs' companies to get them that much more successful.
Right. So kind of like a Shark Tank type of
Exactly.
deal. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
And for the mentor portion of it, because you had asked me about that, that is one of the other challenges for them. And it's only because, as they're out around the world training, fighting wars, operating in contingencies, or even at home where they're in garrison and they're, working and training all hours of the day and night,
Mm-hmm.
they just don't have the opportunity to start creating, like some of their civilian entrepreneurs, creating a relationship with businessmen and women.
Right.
So that's somewhat of a challenge as they get out and transition, and now they want to start a company.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I'm sure it's two very different life paths and professional
Yep,
paths with military civilian, and then that's a big gap to bridge. But that seems
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
that's a big task. But no, that's awesome. Now we like hearing specific stories, anecdotes, kind of human interest, stories of demonstrate how a program is working. I was wondering if you had any anecdotes or stories that are kind of a standout success story since you've been running the program of a veteran that went through this program with PenFed Foundation. You don't have to give a name, obviously, but just
Yeah,
curious for like
yeah.
an example of like someone that then went on to start their own business and has been successful.
We do have a number of them. So we have a company that was in last year's cohort. This company is in the home business.
Okay.
The company is called My Home.
Great.
They have won a number of pitch competitions, and they're being funded by venture capitalists, even as we speak, as they grow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a great company. They're doing great things there. And then before I got here, we had a number of companies they're doing well. B-Hawk, which is named after Brad Halling. He and his wife, both former military, started a whiskey distillery down in
Interesting.
Southern Pines, North Carolina, and they've completed their plant,
Nice.
and they're generating about $1 million plus in sales every year.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got Parlay, who's another company that we just had in 2023. Parlay, founded again by Jay Long, who's an Army Special Forces guy, and
Mhm.
another gentleman, Alex McLeod. They closed large deals with large financial institutions because they're a kind of a financing company.
Mhm.
Yeah, with Live Oak banks. And they've got some software that they use to really assist those veterans, and those banks come together and help them acquire funding as well.
I would like to find all those businesses and put links in the show notes.
Yeah, we could send you that.
Great.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So, Terry, if I could ask a bit about there's an annual veteran entrepreneur program study
Yes.
that reveals the top U.S. cities for veteran entrepreneurs, and it recently came out. Can you give us a broad look at that study?
So we do this study every year. We've done it for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Each year, we partner with Edelman Intelligence and the Pritzker Military Foundation, and we use that to identify the top U.S. citizens for veteran entrepreneurs with the intent of doing a number of things. Number one, telling veterans out there, hey, here are some cities that are very friendly if you're looking to start a business.
Okay.
But we're also looking to tell those cities that, hey, we've got veterans that serve their nation, and now it's time for you to kind of help them
Mm-hmm.
serve them, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And so if you're not in the tops, you should be. And if you're in the tops, you should still push to do greater things for those American heroes.
Hmm.
Right, absolutely. And so this year, what were some of the top takeaways? Like what are the best cities currently for veterans to start a business, and what are the worst cities? And then also, I'm just curious, was there anything that surprised you about the results?
Yeah, so I probably am not going to point out those worst cities, so to
Okay, no,
speak.
fair
But I
enough.
will tell you that the top cities, Raleigh was number one down
Okay.
in
Okay.
North Carolina.
Great.
Washington, Arlington, and Alexandria,
Sure.
they were number two. And here's the thing that surprised me about Washington, Arlington, Alexandria. For 2 years, maybe even 3 years in a row, they were number one.
Okay.
And then in 2023, they dropped out of the top 10.
Oof.
Hmm.
But to their credit, they came back and they're number two this year.
Hmm.
So they're number two, and Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue
Mm-hmm.
is number three. And the list is out there. Cleveland and its partner cities is number four. Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers,
Oh my gosh.
which is Bentonville for us.
Yeah, basically that is the county I grew up in, Terry.
Well, they're number five. So,
Number
you
5.
know, yeah, some great cities doing some great stuff for veteran entrepreneurs.
Huh.
Yeah, so you had also asked me about the main drivers of success and what kind of things came out of that. And I would say, because we break it down in 4 categories, this study: livability, support for veterans, a growing economy, and then the ability to start a business. And so, not surprising, but certainly the things that brought those top cities into the top was, when you look at livability, it was really all about kind of relatively cheap cost of goods and services, affordable and nearby childcare, which is also a problem for the active duty military, by the
Oh
way.
yeah.
So good childcare and school systems are absolutely important.
Mm-hmm.
Affordable housing, which is a big deal. Everybody should know that.
Huge.
And then when it came to support for veterans, there was low veteran unemployment rate, high veteran populations, and a plethora of groups and associations for veterans, which is a great news story. When you look at the growing economy, which to some extent those cities can control,
Mm-hmm.
but it was low unemployment rate year over year, investment in new housing, and then they had a strong job growth and productivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you look at the ability to start a business, which is the fourth area, there's no corporate income tax. Woo! High startup survival rate,
Yeah.
and a high percentage of entrepreneurs who create a business by choice. So that's really those things that are the takeaways. So if you want to be one of those top cities, we say look at those trends and you'll get there.
Also, we have to put a link in the show notes to this study. I love this kind of information, and I think our readers and our audience will get a lot from it. I've read through it a couple of times, and thank you for sharing the details there.
Yeah.
I want to move on to the final little slide in for this main part of the interview, kind of moving on to more recent news of the day type stuff with the new administration, new Congress. Is there anything you, PenFed, are watching in terms of regulations or legislations that might impact PenFed or your membership?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question, but I will tell you, because we're always looking at external factors
Mm-hmm.
that may impact, our membership, I'm not sure that we're doing anything different.
Okay.
So we're still looking in the same areas, at the same places that we would always look at: the regulations, those agencies that regulate,
Mm-hmm.
to include other external factors in other places. So yeah, we are looking at that. And based on our business unit, you look at those things to try to anticipate so that you can ensure minimal impact to our members.
Okay. Anything you're anticipating?
I'd rather keep that to myself.
That is a fair answer.
Things are moving too fast anyway. We can't keep up.
They are, yeah.
Changing every day. So Okay. Well, thanks for responding to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wanted to, yeah, just so another question was curious about. This is kind of more about you and kind of how you work and you as a professional. But we assume you must be a very organized person, military veteran, professional in strategic planning, logistics, and all that. But just curious, kind of, what is a typical workday? How does it run for you? Can you kind of enlighten us a little bit on your organizational strategies just for yourself and just while you're working? Are there any routines you incorporate into your day to make it run smoothly, or what can you teach us?
Yeah, no, that's a great question as well.
Basically, she's saying, please help us, please
Help us disorganized
help
folk.
us.
Yeah,
I don't know if my madness will help you, but I get up super duper early, probably a
Mhm.
holdover from my military days.
Sure.
of course.
So I get up around 4 or 4:15. I then do my morning routine, drive out here to the headquarters, and I do that every day with obviously exception.
Mm,
And I do that so I can, number one, beat the traffic and not be angry when I get in.
sure.
And then number two, so I can work out. So I'll work out every day. And then generally my workout, so I'll get into the building to work out at 5:15, 5:30. And then I'll work out and I'll be done around 7 o'clock, and I'll be firing up my computer at 7 o'clock. The other reason I do that is because no one's in. And so
Yeah.
I have time to go through everything. And I have time to do what senior leaders should be doing and where the value of a senior leader comes in, and that is thinking about the future.
Right.
Hmm.
So for all of my business units, I'm looking out 5 years for many. So for my acquisition of properties, I'm looking at our growth numbers. I'm looking at our building occupancy numbers. And then I'm trying to figure out when I need to pull the trigger to start looking at new property.
Yeah.
So I'm also going through emails, and I'm doing all that in the morning. And generally, I don't have my first meeting until the foundation meeting, which is at 9:30. And then on Mondays, I have my one-on-ones with all of my directs.
Yeah.
And then I have here and there meetings with our various business units so that we can exchange what's going on in our worlds. And that's generally my daily routine. The week is a little different because I have other meetings that pop up. I have my own staff meeting.
Yeah.
I have a meeting with my boss and the other SVPs. It's a good routine because I get most of the thinking stuff that I have to do out of the way early on.
Hmm.
So then any meetings I have, I will have thought about all the details, that meeting, other meetings for the week, and I'm better prepared.
So we find out a lot from people doing these shows and stuff, and we always get new ideas. And so now I want to bring you in to do a full episode on just organizing, planning. I love getting up early because I do the same thing you do, not that early, but 5. But I love it.
Yeah.
And I do think that's such an important aspect. And Natasha, you and I can talk about this later. But I really would love to have Terry back to talk about this stuff
Just
in
on
detail.
organizing the day. Yeah. I know
Yeah.
the whole time I was just thinking about how envious I am of like super early birds and
Yeah.
how, I mean, I'm not that, well, we work remotely, so we don't have to commute or anything, but yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
a 6:30 wake up, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and you're like, it's almost lunchtime for you by that time, probably.
Right.
I tried doing that once and it just didn't work out for me. I
Yeah.
just I couldn't get into that routine. I think the
Right.
military, drilled it into me over those 32 years.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my uncles is a Vietnam vet, extremely organized. I was staying with him in South Carolina and had to go to the airport, and it was like, oh no, I have to wake up at like 4 a.m. And he was up, he was ready to go. He made us both coffee for the road. He was like, all right, chop chop. I was like, wow, like
You gotta love that.
he's like in his 80s now, but no,
You
he's
have to
he's
have
kept
somebody
his,
like that in your life.
Oh
it
yeah.
really is great. Yeah, he has definitely kept his discipline. So
All right.
okay. All right, Terry. Well, let's keep talking about you. We're going to go ahead and slide into our second part of the interview, which is the fun part. So, first question that we had for you is where did you grow up? What's your hometown?
I'm a military brat. I was born in Germany. My mother was in the Air Force and my father was in the Air Force.
Mm.
And so I was born in Landstuhl, Germany, and we traveled all over the place. We traveled to New York, Glens Falls, New York. We traveled to Kaneohe, Hawaii, to Vandenberg, California, and back to Hawaii again, and then finally back to California, where I ended up for middle school and then high school. And that's where I used to call home, Santa Monica, California, where I went to high school and then rolled over to UCLA.
Mm.
Oh, great.
But now I call home Virginia, Haymarket, Virginia.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back to Santa Monica at all?
I do every once in a while because my
Yeah.
family still lives out there. My
Oh, okay.
sisters still live out there, and my mother lives out there.
Okay. Yeah, tough
Yeah.
time around I'm in Southern California, but I'm about 2 hours away from Santa Monica. Yeah,
Ah.
tough time right now.
Oh yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Those
Yeah,
fires are awful.
absolutely.
My heart goes out.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
Terry, let me ask you about military really quick. We do get a lot of military veterans on the show who are in positions like you are. And I like to ask this question, what's a really great life lesson you learned while serving in the Marines?
Yeah. So mine is a little different.
Okay.
So mine is life is hard,
Yeah.
but I got through it giving it all to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And my point is the spiritual side of life is super duper important. And you can't neglect that
Mm-hmm.
because it does help you get through life.
All right.
And for whatever it's worth, in my opinion, there's another side to life on the other side after death.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
for me, the spiritual life, whichever you decide you want to practice, is super duper important to getting through the tough times in life.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I mean, especially with all the tragedies and everything things that happen throughout life. Yeah, I think that's
Absolutely.
absolutely, you have to have something bigger than bigger than what you see. So
Absolutely.
great. Okay. All right. Now, something else we wanted to ask you about. Of course, we stalk our guests before they come on, at least on their LinkedIn page, which is public. So not really stalking, hopefully. We discovered a kind of a fun fact about you that's unrelated to your primary role at PenFed. So you're actually a published author of a thriller novel series, and it looks like you worked on it with a colleague of yours, that you leveraged AI to write it. Can you
Yeah,
tell our listeners a little bit about this endeavor?
that's right. So my colleague, Adam Cohen, and I decided when the whole craze with ChatGPT came out to start playing with it. And I'm a
Yeah.
geek at heart, so
Great.
I started playing with it. And I thought, you know what? I wonder if I can write a book with this thing. And so initially, when it first came out, it was hard to do anything with. And that's when the book started. And I would do it, believe it or not, I was in the gym, and between sets, I'd pick up my phone and I'd start having a conversation with the GPT. And I
Okay.
would tell it, hey, here are my characters. Here's the storyline. Here's my first chapter. Let's talk about the first
Hmm.
chapter. And so it would spit something out. And then I would in turn say, no, do it this way. And this is happening. And no, that character wouldn't do this and do this. And it was almost like having a writer sitting next to me and I'm just dictating to that person
Sure.
and they're writing it.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
I
so
love
after,
picturing you yelling at it in the gym.
no,
You know?
I don't yell
Hey.
at it for that. I do yell at it for other things because we
Okay.
are doing other things. We've branched out since then. But the
Okay.
thriller is about two gentlemen. One's name is Cole Adams. He's a former FBI agent, retired, working at a bank. And the other guy's name is Jerry McWilliams, a retired general from the Marine Corps who also is working at a bank.
Hmm.
They go on a large adventure on discovering some insider threat stuff that turns out to be a bigger than themselves worldwide issue.
Hmm.
And as you go through the thriller, the first one is The Corruption Within. The second one is called The Singularity Dawn. And the second one is about a rogue AI that they built.
Great.
And the third one, which is complete, but I haven't yet figured out how I want to work it, it's called The Destruction. It's ready to go. And at some point, I'll figure out how I want to get it reviewed and everything else.
I love this.
Yeah.
Again, more links in the show notes for these books.
God.
I was gonna say, yeah, let's add
Oh
the
my
link. Wow,
goodness. Here's
That's
another
incredible.
fun fact.
really fun. Yeah.
Here's another
It
fun
is.
fact. So we
Yeah.
just didn't do books. We also did Christian music, if you can believe that,
Okay.
Oh,
a symphony, and we're now writing code. So we're doing apps using AI and full stack SaaS, as they call it,
Sure.
software as a service.
Yeah.
wow.
It's come that far.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking my brain here a little bit thinking of all these things. So, well, we got
And
to have
it
Terry
seems like
back.
all of our interviews just end up going back to AI, right, Michael?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
that's
so.
all anyone wants to talk about. But this
That's
is,
what they're
it's
doing.
fun. There's a lot to be done with it. creatively.
Yeah.
Some people
God.
might be like, oh, well, you don't want the AI to be writing the books and taking the job away from the author or whatever. But, I mean, that's a whole other conversation, I guess.
Terry, you are a boundary pusher on this. This is
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Okay, Terry, I need to ask you a bit of a childhood memory question. What was the first album you ever bought or remember listening to?
The one I bought was Maynard Ferguson's Chameleon because I was in the marching band
Oh, yeah.
and in jazz band, and I was a trombone player. And Maynard Ferguson, who was a jazz trumpet guy
Yep.
who was in a number of big bands, so he was actually in the later parts of his career, put out that album. I want to say it was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
And so I bought it just because it was the talk of town with the brass amongst us. And Chameleon was one of those songs that really showcased the squealing of the trumpet
God, what
in
a
the
pick.
brass section.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great pick.
All right, Terry, and final question for this interview. We ask all of our guests this question to close it out here. What was the last movie you watched?
Okay, so I'm going to change the question,
Okay.
and I'm going to say the last movie I watched with my wife.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
And the last movie we watched was Denzel Washington's The Equalizer 3.
Yeah. Not kidding you, Terry. I just finished going through all three of them about a week ago.
Oh,
I won't say
Equalizer
that
3.
she loved it, but I did.
I thought it was better than the first and the second one.
Okay, that's fair.
What did you think?
I really liked the second one better.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
I love Denzel Washington. Gosh, that guy's good.
yeah, I think I'm with your wife, Terry. I don't know, whenever my
Yeah.
boyfriend puts on just one of those action movies, I don't know. It doesn't do much for me.
Well, she doesn't normally
say.
like those things, but for some reason she wanted to watch it, maybe because Denzel was in it. I
Love
don't
him.
know.
Of course.
God,
Yeah,
what a great actor.
absolutely. All right. Well, Terry Williams of PenFed Credit Union and the PenFed Foundation, this was so much fun. It was great getting
Oh,
to
it
know
was.
you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Natasha and Michael. I appreciate it greatly. And anytime you want me back, just let me know.
Oh, thank you, Terry. We will.
All right. And to all of our listeners, thank you for downloading today's show. Please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times in all of those normal podcast places that you know about. And please make sure to share the episodes with your coworkers and maybe even some relatives that you don't like very much.
That's right. And feel free to rate us too, 5 stars only. As always, thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyeisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next week for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.